morning, Uganda. Welcome to today's episode of the Live Text Lounge. My name is Anan Preska. I'm going to be your host. And this one is particularly special because it's part of our Green Gut Chat series. So this is where we talk about everything green, how even an organization like URA can support our environment, our world to be greener, to be safer, and just overall a better place to live. I know we're always saying developing Uganda together, but that's beyond just economic, the economic sense. It's also in the social way. It's also in the environmental way. Like, we want to build a 360 Uganda and to do it with you. So in studio today, we have an amazing set of panelists. One is our very own and one is a guest. But I am not going to do the talking for them. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit of who they are, what they do, and also to tell us why they're here, what we're going to discuss today. So I will start with the one who is closest to home. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Priska. Dan Patrick Wadanya is my name. Currently, I lead the Occupational Safety, Health and Environment Unit at URA. This is the unit that is charged with ensuring that every one of us, staff, clients, visitors, come to our premises, do their transactions, and live in one piece. And also ensuring that staff can work and retire and enjoy their retirement. So you work safely, you live safely, you retire safely, you go and add value to the community as a retired officer. Yes.
Nice. I like what you say that you make sure we all live in one piece.
Exactly.
So great job.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning. I'm Edgar Kijuka, and I'm the Technical Director for EcoSafe Consults, Uganda Limited. It is an environmental engineering and safety firm based in Uganda. We do basically consultancy. But that notwithstanding, I'm also a NOSH and also a sustainability specialist. I am much of an advocate for sustainability because we see that to live, continue life, we have to ensure that we live in sustainable ways. Even the development should be sustainable. So whatever we do, it's sustainable. I'm happy to be here.
We're very excited to have you here, Edgar. And I like what you said that everything that we do should be sustainable. It should just be beyond us. We shouldn't just think about now. And that brings us to our conversation today. Every time we talk about environmental stewardship and looking out for environment and sustainability, sometimes people will think it's just about going to plant trees and it's away from our workplace. But even in the workplace, you can still be an advocate for the environment. And that's what we're having today. But I would also like to hear from you, Dan. Just beef up, what's this conversation about today?
Thank you, Priska. URA management has committed to environmental protection and sustainability practices. This we have seen through our senior management. Every one of them has got a component of the environment in their performance management. And through the corporate services department, the administration division, where majorly office premises, fleet, and such facilities are operated from, we are taking the lead in terms of ensuring that URA meets its obligations as an entity to its obligations as relates to sustainability. So we are committed and we are undertaking many activities to address matters of the environment. For example, as an entity, we are participating in a number of initiatives by other public entities. For example, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, the Ministry of Local Government. We are together working on a policy for waste management for all entities in Uganda. We are also participating in other initiatives by the National Environment Management Authority. Yeah, so the management of URA is committed to ensuring that we protect the environment, and they are willingly facilitating us to participate in those different initiatives. And we appreciate management for coming through and supporting us to build capacity both internally and externally. Number two, we are committed to ensuring that we reduce waste as an entity. And to that effect, we are moving into a phase where we shall be able to sort our waste and encourage recycling. We already have an entity that is willing to take all our waste paper and even ask for more. We can't satisfy their demand. Yeah, an entity that is into the business of making pads. Paper is one of the inputs into the product. So all the waste paper we generate in a year, they will need it and even more.
Oh.
Yeah, so once we are able to sort, then we are able to support them. And that means what the waste collector takes out of here significantly reduces. So we are also encouraging recycling in that if we are able to sort at source, if you have a dustbin next to your desk where you can actually put paper separate from waste food separate from plastic, it means the person that is recycling plastic will come and pick a clean piece of plastic and take it for recycling. Even one that is going to use paper won't need to treat it. They will not need to use a lot of power, use a lot of chemicals to treat it because it is sorted, it is put separate from food, for example. And when we talk about even food waste itself, people are taking it to feed animals and birds within their homesteads. But when it is mixed together now, you have food, you have paper, you have plastic, it becomes total waste. you cannot use it. But when it is sorted, then you're able to utilize it in recycling, in feeding animals, in even in energy production. I do have a friend of mine who is into biogas systems and now is looking at how best do we utilize even food waste, because for now it is animal waste from the farms, but we're also generating a lot of food waste. If it is properly packaged without other contaminants, it can actually be utilized. And that cycle also generates a lot of things. Besides getting energy, you're also getting fertilizer, you're also getting a lot of things, even water for irrigation. At the end of the day, it is a sustainable cycle of resource utilization. So this conversation today feeds into our broader goal of effective waste management, but not only that, of sustainability as an entity. So our expert here will walk us through, I mean, for you as an individual in an office, what is your duty? What are you expected to do? What is it that you can do at an individual level in an office? And what can URA as an entity with maybe 5,000 people, what can be our impact if we all thought along the same front in terms of sustainability and environmental protection? So this is like to prepare us for what is coming in the coming days. Thank you.
Nice. And it seems like the coming days are going to be very bright. The future is bright for URA and sustainability. When you were sharing, it reminded me of before we ran the program, it was supposed to be an internal show for URA staff. But when we saw the content, we're like, even people who are not in URA need this. So we decided to just, make it an external broadcast for that reason. And even when we were sharing, this information is very important for anyone who is watching. And for those watching, please feel free to send in your comments, your feedback. What's your experience like? How are you looking out for the environment at your workplace? How are you managing paper? Because that's a big deal. Yes, we're moving to, E, but still there's a little bit of something happening there. So share with us your story, your experience, so we learn from one another. Now, I'm going to learn from the expert. Edgar, my first question to you. What does environmental stewardship mean, and why is it important for individuals and organizations?
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very interesting conversation, environmental stewardship. it is something that everyone needs actually to know, and I'm happy that you're broadcasting it even from out. So environmental stewardship is responsible use and protection of the natural environment through conservation means. It could be through environmental conservation, through sustainable practices, and any other proactive approaches and engagements that are aimed at protecting the environment.
Okay.
So in this case, environmental stewardship goes to individuals, but also to the organizations. For example, at an individual level, you should be able to make conscious decisions like saving energy, ensure that when you're leaving the room, you switch off the lights, reducing waste, being not only reducing waste, but also if you have waste, you should be able to ensure that it is disposed of well, but also being active and taking part in environmental practices that will see our future, because we are preserving for the future generation. That is the most important thing. So now, as an individual at your level, you need to be having those aspects in your to ensure that you're able to do that. Now, at an organizational level, like URA, it is integrating your environmental responsibility into policies, operations, and activities of the organization as URA. How do you do this? Because it is important. First of all, you have to be committed. First, you start with the commitment. You're able to commit as URA to say that as URA, we commit to protect the environment. And through this, we will do this, and this. Start with policies. Secondly, you also, as an entity, need to look at the things that you do, your activities, and how they affect the environment. And when you get to know your activities that you're doing, for example, we use generators, we use vehicles, we use paper, and how are we going to ensure that we minimize, because whatever we do, every aspect has an impact. As we go on in the conversation, you'll be able to see that every aspect has an impact. But ultimately, environmental stewardship has an importance. First of all, as an entity, you are able to comply to the national standards and laws and regulations, because we have the National Environment Act of 2019. There are regulations which are under NEMA for waste management, noise, air quality, and so on. So you need actually to be aware of your obligation as an entity. Secondly, you're able, it will bring the reputation of such an entity like URA. When URA comes out and says, we are protecting the environment, we are doing this to protect the environment, we are trying to cut on our on use of paper so that we don't have deforestation, we are trying to minimize, we are trying to ensure that whatever we do with waste, with our waste is sorted. We are trying to reduce it. We are trying to use all the 3 R's to ensure that we manage our waste. But not only that, there is also a long-time saving as an entity. Okay. You see use of energy, use of water. So if you're responsible in using them, then as an entity, the bills also ultimately go down. If we look at energy use, for example, instead of saying let's go for using generators to power for our lighting, and for example, we decide to go solar lighting, in one way or the other, there is a saving that an entity is making, because you're trying actually to reduce the emissions, but also there is a saving. But also, we need to understand that Uganda is a signatory to many international treaties and agreements as regards even to the environment. For example, the Paris Agreement. Yeah, we have to ensure that we take an action towards mitigation of climate changes. So it is an action that an entity is doing towards climate action to reduce carbon emissions and all that. So it is actually very important for an organization like URA to be an environmental steward, to be seen as the one of the organizations, by the way, one of the organizations in government agencies, which is actually trying to do hard to conserve and protect our environment. It gives you an edge over other agencies.
That's true. That's true. And thank you, Edgar. You have clearly illuminated what environmental stewardship is, because you know people throw around words and then you're like, oh, environmental stewardship, or what? But sometimes we say things and we don't really know the gist of it. So you've done a great job.
And not only that, you will see that at your personal level, what you do as an individual, this what you do here, you can actually apply it home. It doesn't stop here. So as an environmental steward, you don't only do it because it is required at the workplace. Switch off the power. Because it is, but even at home, this is the same thing, because at the end of the day, we want to reduce emissions. We want to ensure that the next generation finds also the green environment. So it ultimately goes to you as an individual being able to be responsible.
So it starts with you being proactive and choosing that, okay, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to litter correctly. I'll put the rubbish in the right place. I will sort. I will do the right thing. But, Dan, you shared some of the things that URA is doing and some of the things that we're planning on doing. And I find that so many organizations will have all these dreams that we want to do this, we want to do this, but then they'll say they want to do this for a very long time. Like, we want to manage our waste better, or we want to have the recycling bins and separate our waste. Why does it take so long for these things to actually kick off? Like, what are those challenges that we experience as organizations or as individuals that hinder our progress in looking out for environment? This is to you, but it's also to Edgar.
Thank you, Priska. I believe one of the greatest challenges is appreciation of what the future is supposed to be. Until you're able to clearly get it at the back of your mind that, for example, if you don't, or what you're enjoying today is because someone who lived before you preserved it for you. And until you have that at the back of your mind, that you owe the future a duty to live for them, a good place to live, you really may not mind about environmental protection. What we are doing as an entity right now is prepare our staff to make them understand that this is not about you getting what you can get out of the earth today and you live. How about the child you have given birth to? How about your grandchild that is yet to come? Will they find the same resources you enjoyed? It's until we are there. And I want to be grateful to the management of URA. As Edgar was elaborating, for example, this building where we are sitting is a smart building. It is designed to maximize air. As you can see, the building only has AC in meeting spaces. The open plan offices do not have air conditioning because the building is designed to breathe naturally. So air comes in and goes out the natural way, and you feel at peace in the building. Yeah. So the building is designed to be environmentally friendly. It's designed to minimize resources. And the same was applied to our regional office in Masaka. And I believe for all the new projects we are going to do, for all the new buildings we are going to set up, the standard remains. They have to be smart buildings, maximizing lighting, maximizing airflow to ensure that we don't have to run AC any time of the day in the open plan office because we sit in the open. It's only these spaces like where we are sitting in the studio, which are enclosed, and that's where you may find AC. The rest of the buildings, the rest of the space doesn't have. So that is one way one step management has taken to ensuring that we preserve and minimize resources. The other is, yes, you can design this building, for example, the way it functions. Lights will turn off in a space if there is no occupancy. If all of us walk out of here, these lights will go off automatically. Once someone walks in, the lights will turn on. Even in the open plan office, if one is sitting in some corner, the rest of the floor won't be lighting. Only your corner will have light if you're working late. So those steps have been taken. But it is one thing to design an environmentally friendly building, and it's another thing to ensure that the people occupying it actually adhere to the other practices, because not everything will be automated. We can automate the lighting, we can automate the airflow and the like. For example, the AC here will turn on automatically when we are in, and when we go out, will go off.